Hey guys, Coach Adam from TeamElitePhysique.com with another Pro Bikini breakdown. I told you guys I was going to be doing more of these this year since you are okay with the freestyle versions where I jump into it. We had a lot of shows over last weekend, so let's go ahead and just get right into it. So first off, no surprise over the weekend, Amy wins the Hurricane Pro, working on her IFBB Olympia qualification right away. I don't think it's going to be any issue for her to get that Olympia qualification. As always, I think she'll be doing it probably in her next show if she continues to look the way she's looking. And I hear she's going to be doing like an Asian tour, which is going to be really cool. So that's going to be exciting. She's been talking about that for a while now, actually. I remember her talking about like wanting to do shows over in Asia. And I think, you know, if hopefully it happens for her this year, that's the rumors in the rumor wheel. So hopefully she does. I will say I've been to a lot of shows, Korea, Japan. Going to the Asian market was definitely my best experience in the, you know, coaching world. It was so fun to get out there and just see the different cultures, and it's way different in the Asian market. If you're a competitor, I highly recommend going to Japan and Korea. The competitors themselves, like the amateurs and the fans, are just, it's a totally different world. They appreciate bodybuilding so much more than the US. The athletes out there, the pro athletes, are like a real celebrity. So going to be a really cool experience if she ends up going that route. Anyway, let's go ahead and go into her physique. And first off, you know, honestly, I said a lot about Amy at the Olympia and her overall physique, and there's really not a lot to talk about here. It's pretty much dead on. I mean, she won with the perfect score, which was definitely assumed. Not a whole lot to work on here. I love how her posing is. Her lines look good. You can see that her legs here, they look, you know, before they would look a little bit big and a little bit grainy, but now they have that more of a soft kiss to them, especially on that back leg where there's not too much definition. Sometimes you'd see a little bit too much quad here, like quad separation. Now, she's still a little bit grainy in this front quad, but this is much more toned down, and this is definitely in the acceptable range. You don't want to get to the point where you're grainy and seeing like all the little detail and striations and just like little that graininess to the muscle. It's definitely not there as it used to be. Can this improve a tiny bit with a tiny bit less graininess? Yeah, maybe just a hair. But this level of conditioning where she's full, she's a little softer, but not too soft. This is the perfect balance of conditioning. You want to be right at that perfect, like right in the middle, not too hard, not too soft. And you look at her from the front, and she would sometimes, you know, be a little too hard from the front, or she'd be a little too soft from the back. And you'd have that kind of like, which Amy is going to show up today. But the last few shows, the last 3 shows that I've seen her in, she has been nailing it pretty much dead on. You could see that the tie-ins here, they're fully in, but they're not etched in. Sometimes you'll see Amy, she doesn't have this like tie-in completed. It's just, you'll see just like the edges of the tie-in a little bit, and you won't see, like you'll kind of just see like right here. But when she gets in real good shape, it starts connecting closer at that bottom, and you're starting to see it really on her now too. I will say the only issue from the back is when she does get lean enough to see this bottom tie-in, you do start seeing a little bit of that hamstring separation too. I don't know if that's a solvable problem by getting bigger hamstrings and kind of filling the gaps here, or if that's just, you know, how she's going to look. Maybe this package would be a little bit better if she could just fill that in, get a tiny bit less grain to the front leg. But honestly, I don't think there's that much room to improve here. This is a pretty peaked out physique at this point. This is what I've wanted to see from her for quite a few years. And she's, you know, really coming into her peak. And, you know, it's a lot of trouble for everyone else, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and look at who else was in this show, though, because there's kind of some crazy things that happened in this show. You had Brittany Hamilton, you had Masa in this show. You had Alice Rocha, and, you know, Alice Rocha is, you know, she's a high level competitor. She got 15th last year at the Olympia, if I'm correct. I think it was 15th. Yeah, she got top 15th place at the Olympia last year. So she's a top competitor getting 6th in this show. And I was like, man, who's at this show where she's getting 6th? And she went from 15th last year to 16th this year at the Olympia. You know, I don't know how far down she was, because at the Olympia, if you're 16th, everyone's 16th place. Anyone who's out of the top 15, you go to 16th place. So it's kind of doesn't really tell you your real placing when you're in 16th place, because you could be 16th or you could be 68th, right? That it's the same amount of points. So was she actually 16, 17 and just missed by a spot, or is she just, a little off as of late? So the thing about Alice is she has really, really good glutes. Like her glutes are crazy good, crazy round. I mean, her glutes are, they challenge some of the top girls in the IFBB, like no doubt. The roundness and fullness, especially with her tiny waistline. She has like a really small waistline from the back, and she has, we call those 3D glutes, where her glutes like pop off the hips here. We call it 3D glutes, where her hips just are outside of her waistline by a far margin, that's what they don't get much more 3D than that, especially without squaring. You might see some 3D glutes that really square off, and you'll see like that, and you'll see that in, the more muscular divisions sometimes, where you get those squared glutes that are 3D, but it doesn't look as appealing as the hourglass shaped glutes. It's more of like a, straight, high edged backs, straight glutes, kind of like that. And it's not the shape you're looking for in bikini. But with Alice, she has like some of the best glutes. The problem is that in this show, her conditioning's a little bit off. She's not the typical conditioning that you'd see from her. And one thing I'll say too, and I don't know if this has changed from last year, but her foot position on this pose, I think, is a little wide. I generally like to see an 11-1 foot position. So like if here's 12 o'clock, right? This is dead 12 o'clock, right? You got 12 and 6 right here. This is the on a clock. A 11-1 would be here. So your feet position would be here. She's a little bit past that. Her feet are really wide out there, maybe even like a 10-30 and 130 kind of scenario, right? Where her feet are really pushed out wide. And I don't think it helps her lines that much. It might help her glutes a little bit, but I feel like the positioning of your foot being like so far wide, it just looks a little awkward. It gives you more quad than she needs. That's just my opinion on it. And the other thing too, the only thing that I think that really struggled in Alice's physique is that she doesn't have a great like V taper, that great hourglass shape. I always see from the back, and especially because she has shorter hair, you could see her back and you don't get any width from her back, you don't get that hourglass shape. You kind of just get straight up and down from the back. You get straight here, and then she's got those crazy glutes and crazy legs. And I think that it does, especially with her shorter hair, it kind of exposes that. Now, I don't know if that's going to be judges' feedback, but I see that in the front pose too. And that's really the only thing I could say that's like bad about her physique. She has everything else going for her. She's got the beauty, she's got the hair, she's got the complexion, the crazy glutes, muscle fullness, great wide shoulders. But when you look at her like upper back, she doesn't have those lats. It's just, there's kind of just not that much lat here. And I think that it would help her physique a lot. And when you see her from the front, yeah, her conditioning is a little bit off. You could see either she overfilled or just was a little soft. One of the two. I think that just having a little bit more lat would really complete this physique. A little tighter, of course, here too. And then, of course, from the front, I do think, honestly, from the front, she could use a little bit more roundness to her hamstring, but not much. So just a little bit, just strange to see her in a show that's not a, Olympia level show where she's not top two, top three. She's a top competitor. We could look at her placings here. Let's look at 2025 here. She's always here, second, seventh, second, first, third, second, first, Olympia 16th. So just kind of a weird spot for her. I don't think we'll see that again, but I would, to me, that's a little bit of the posing that I see. So other one I wanted to go into too was Zin Yi Shen. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. Zin Yi Shen. Someone who was also at the Olympia. And then I was looking through her placings and she's quite a killer. Look at this. Third, seventh, 16th, seventh, second, third. She is always doing well. She also got first, third, sixth at the Japan Pro and first at the Muscle Contest Vietnam Pro too. So I was like, man, who is this girl beating all of these people and hanging with Amy too? And looking at her overall physique, and she was at the Olympia, she was in the 16th place at the Olympia, but man, is she underrated? What a physique. See if we can get a fully posed picture of her. Yeah, so awesome physique. A couple of things that I'd like to see out of her is just a tiny bit more detail in the core. Not a lot. I think that's fine for bikini to be where she's at. I like to see just a kiss of detail on the abs, just a little bit. This is a really nice flat stomach, but I would like to see just a kiss of detail. I think that her back shoulder could be turned over a little bit more to create more width to balance her out from upper to lower body as well. her posing so profile in that back shoulder. I think throws off her balance a little bit because she is so quad heavy and so glute heavy. Like she's got really awesome legs and glutes, a little grainy, a little tight on the legs from the front, but I think that she can balance out her posing just a little bit to make that a little bit better. And you know, from here, it doesn't look like she needs more shoulders. I can't tell with the posing. So that's the other issue. When someone's posing where they could be posing more balanced, I can't even tell if she would need more because it doesn't show in the actual pose. So good thing is I got her walking here. But I mean, actually her glutes stay really full in the walk. Look at that. And that's the thing. You'll see a lot of people who don't have the fullness of the glutes. In this area, the glute just really falls off. She's staying really, really full and dense. I mean, she's right there hanging with Amy in terms of the density and fullness on those upper glutes, but too much detail. You're seeing the striations in the glutes here too. You're seeing the striations in the legs and in the quads. And then in the back pose, it's actually really good. The back pose, really, really good in this back pose on the tie-ins, but too much detail on the hamstrings. Look at how sharp that hamstring is. Very, very sharp hamstrings. Inner adductors, you're seeing that deep V, which is something that you don't want to see. You know, all this detail in here, that deep V we call it, where you're seeing like the full adductor separation. You're seeing the full hamstring separation. Like look at these hamstrings down in this area, this low area here. And you compare that to Amy. You know, Amy doesn't have all that. Amy is a little tight in those hamstrings, but not that tight. And, you know, that could be the differentiator there too. You know, Amy's just on another level too. I don't think whatever Zin Yi did that day, she was beating Amy, but she could be more competitive if she did just a couple things. And actually, when I look at her from the back, she actually has really wide shoulders. So she could definitely pose a little bit more balance from that upper to lower. She definitely doesn't need any more shoulders. She could just pose a little better from upper to lower. Like you could see here, her shoulder to waist ratio is awesome and everything matches up really, really good, like in her balance. And then if you look at her from the front pose, she actually looks like a little smaller in the shoulders. Maybe she's pulling back a little bit in those shoulders. But I think she can open up just a little bit more and create more width to balance her out. So yeah, that's someone to pay attention to. If she nails her conditioning, does those things, man, she's actually really, really good. I mean, pretty underrated competitor. I mean, look at who she's beating, you know? When you look at like the list of who she's beating too, she's beating Yulia. I don't know if I'm saying this name right. Goulash. But another good competitor. I mean, she won the Mr. Big Evolution Portugal Pro. She got third. She's a pretty good competitor. I've been watching her lately, and great physique as well. But let's go ahead and go on to some of the other shows. We had two other shows over the weekend. One of them was in Mexico, and look at this list in Mexico. Only 8 girls. You know, if you're trying to get points and qualify for the Olympia, and you're in the U.S., U.S. is going to be deep. There's going to be a lot of competitors in these U.S. shows. Look overseas. Look in Mexico. Look in, Canada sometimes too. But if we're going after points, go to those. Try to find the shows where you're going to get points. You know, by beating 3 girls, you're going to get points here. Anyone who get 5th or better here is going to be getting points towards the Olympia. You know, and this is the game. We're playing the points game now. You know, so now saying that the top competitor in this list, Cassandra, was no joke at all. I was like, dang, how is there only 8 people in the show? This is the winner. Oh my gosh, look at her physique. So please tell me they have her physique here. All right, yeah, they do. Look at this. Look at these glutes. That's crazy to find this talent level out of a show where there's only 8 people in it, right? Look at those glutes and legs. She is full. She's round. She's detailed without too much detail. A little bit tight on those hamstrings, very muscular competitor. That's the one thing. She's very, very muscular, but those glutes are full. The tie-ins are there. The legs are super developed. The shoulders are there. The V-taper. So this is the thing I was talking about with Alice. You see how she has a V-taper here? You see this like hourglass shape that she has, and you're just not seeing that with Alice on that back pose. So that's something that Alice can work on with developing her back, but it's also gonna be here in the front pose. You see how much more lat is here now versus Alice. So let's look at her, and we can go back to Alice in this show and just kind of compare the two. And I do think that that's one of like the only major things that hurts her is the lats. You see these lats here. And, you know, you don't want like big lats in bikini or anything. It's just that you do want some shape in bikini on those, on that, you want that hourglass shape. You know, you see how full she is here in those lats, how she's really giving that shape. And then when you see her from the back, it's really apparent, you know, like look at her from the back and look at those lats and like just see here, you know, how this doesn't go straight up and down. Like look at the difference of like if she were to go straight up and down in that beautiful shape and that gives her this hourglass shape. And then when we look back at Alice from the back, she doesn't have, let's see, go here. She doesn't have that shape. You see how it's straight up and down, you know, and that could be her posing, but that it is her development too. And I think that her getting that and getting a little bit more developed there is going to fill out her physique. It's going to complete her because from the legs, she's like from the waist down, she's like done. Like she looks crazy good. Tiny bit of improvement here and there, but nothing major. But it's just that to complete her. And I think if she gets that this year, she focuses on getting that this year, her being not even in the top 15, but the top 10 at the Olympia, super realistic. But when you're comparing shape of these girls now with how muscular they are, and they have this type of, you know, hourglass shape and waist to hip ratio on top of the hourglass shape, like it's, you know, you're going to see, hey, there's something just missing from her physique. And it's just, you can't give her the win, you know, and then she's getting pushed down in this show that she shouldn't be getting pushed down. I think that she's getting pushed down because her conditioning's a little bit off this time, but she should be, you know, it should be her and, you know, her and Amy really. I mean, no offense to Zin Yi, but it really should be. So it's kind of a surprise that she's not up a little higher at a show of this caliber. She should be way up there. So that being said, congratulations, Cassandra. Cassandra's been doing pretty good. You see here, she got third place, second place, third place, and then first place. So she's been doing really well. She seems to compete in the southern United States and Mexico. And then last year, she ended up getting 6th, 2nd, 3rd, 15th, and 4th. So congratulations to Cassandra on her first win. But that is an incredible physique. I don't think that'll be her only win this year. I think that her getting to the Olympia is not out of question. She's got to win one more show now, or just get there by points. But the way that she's been consistent, it's not going to surprise anyone if she's there. So with that being said, is that all the shows? Do I have two of the same shows pulled up here? I think I do. I feel like, did I miss one? All right, let's go back and check. This is the problem with doing these things live is might be missing one. I swear there's one more. All right, we're gonna go through here. So this is how I go through them all. Mexico, Night of Champions. All right, I guess that was it. Now, other shows coming up this weekend, which we actually had some surprises on the names here. Let's see, where is Bikini? There it is. All right, so we have some throwdowns overseas. Jazzy, number 3 in the world, is going to be competing. You know, obviously she's the front runner there. I don't really see her miss, to be honest. Like when does she miss, right? I can't even remember a time where she misses. Yeah. So, I mean, she's going to be on. Yeah, she's super consistent. So I see her being a front runner, probably going to end up winning that show, you know, but it's Bikini. You never know. In Bikini, it can go any way, any day. And you just got to kind of be cool with the punches that come, especially now when you're number 3 in the world again. You know, she slipped a little bit at the Arnold and ended up getting 6th. That was a one-off. Well, I guess I wouldn't even really call that a slip, though, like a miss. She just was, I think, a little bit too powerful in the shoulders. I think missing is more like when you're off on your conditioning levels, you know, and you're just super soft or something like that. But you build a little too much in the shoulders trying to be better. I think that's like more swinging for the fences than it is like a miss. I'd rather miss that way than just be off, you know. And I think that she just pushed it a little far at the Arnold and was like trying to get to that number 1 spot. Went a little too far. I was like, oh, I better reel it back in. And it's hard to know until you get feedback from the judges. I don't really count that as a miss. I'd count that as like a overshooting, which is I like taking the risk. You can see how I always am like, let's go for the risk and let's see. It's better to go for it and see what happens than shock everyone or slip a couple spots and then recalibrate. But anyway, you see Jazzy there. You also see Allison Testu. So I think that's going to be the race out there. You know what? Now I remember the other show. It wasn't on the NPC News Online, but it was like the biggest. It was like the biggest part of this whole thing, which is so funny. I was like so excited about this one, and then I forgot about it for a second. All right, so I had to look it up by actually looking up Viktoria because it wasn't on the list. But I was watching Viktoria, and guys, this is kind of crazy with Viktoria. Look at, I mean, is this right? Can someone tell me if this is right? Has she not competed since 2020? Like, she got her pro card. What happened here? She got her pro card. There's no competing years, 2021, 22, 23, 24. Then she comes back 2025. She comes back, does her first show, gets 4th place, does her second show, gets 1st place. 3rd show is the freaking Olympia, and she gets 15, top 15 at the Olympia, and then does her 4th show since she comes back in 2025 and wins the show, probably with a perfect score. I didn't see the scorecards. Who is this? What's going on? Right? What the heck is going on? Look at those stats. Okay, 4th place first time. Let's recalibrate. 1st place wins the second show. Go to the Olympia. 1st place, or 15, top 15 at the Olympia, which is like incredible, right? You're on no one's radar at that point. The judges are like, oh, well, yeah, this is a girl who's won 1 show. Like, it's not like judges are like, oh, this she's won 7 shows. There's a lot of momentum, whatever. She breaks out top 15 at the Olympia, which is so hard to do with like that type of resume, right? Because no one's like, you're not like a front runner. The judges aren't like specifically looking for you. Like, you're not like a name where it's like, oh, let's see what, Laura Lee looks like, Amy looks like, Ashley looks like the names that like you're going to get that you're going to get that look no matter what. When you've done a lot of shows, you're going to get that second look. They're going to know who you are. But when you're like just coming into it, you have to stand out. You have to be like, hey, this is me. I know I haven't done much, but I can hang with these girls. Like, look at me. And then they're like, whoa, okay, top 15. That's pretty hard to do, especially for someone overseas. So I was looking at her and I'm like, is this a new star? Do we have our first star that we've seen in, I mean, how long has it been since we've had like a breakout star who's like in their first real year of competing as a pro that is a like full-on star, right? That's like, it's a little early to say that. I'm not going to say she is yet, but we haven't seen that. Have we not seen that since like Issa in her first year? I don't even know. We got like Issa, Amy did it a little bit. I mean, it's been pretty rare where we have seen like a first year star, right? Who are you going to put on that list? Daraja, maybe? I mean, this is, so if we're looking at who's going to be, potential for like a new star coming up, is it her? I mean, there's nothing to go like, that's not saying that it's going to be, right? She's got, two pro wins in 2025 and has only done 3 shows outside of the Olympia and top 15 at the Olympia. But looking at her overall physique, I'm like, man, this girl's she's got the goods, Look at her physique. I mean, this is what I'm talking about with like shoulders when I was talking about Zin Yi, like opening up her shoulders to balance out her lower body. This looks like a balanced upper to lower body, looks very powerful in the front, maybe a little too powerful in the front pose with those shoulders and arms. Got to be careful with how strong you're posing when you are that jacked and you do have that much upper body development. Those shoulders are very muscular. Those arms are very muscular. So I would say it can tone down a little bit to be a little bit better balanced here, just not posing as strong in that front pose. But hey, it's working for her. But look at these glutes in that front profile. That is a crazy glute front profile. That is a crazy waistline, awesome shoulders. She's got the beauty, the hair, the tan, the complexion, all that. A little bit tight. I will say a little bit tight in those quads. But I mean, we're talking like first real year pro competing. Like, has she just been developing for 4 years? 5? What is that? 4 years? Yeah, since 2020. Has she just been like in the gym perfecting this? And it's like, I'm waiting 5 years and I'm going to come out with a bang and just like shut everything down. Is that possible? She's going to do that? I don't know. We're going to find out this year. We'll see how many shows she's got to do more to get to the Olympia. So we're going to find out. But she has some makings of maybe being a potential star. Again, a little bit tight in those hamstrings, but there's a little bit of glute development that could be here to fill out that area. But all in all, very, very good physique. I'm actually excited to see her because we just haven't had like a star. It's so hard in bikini to be a star these days because of just the amount of muscle that's required in bikini. It's just a lot of muscle now. You don't see like a first year star because they need so much more muscle to be competitive. So you don't see this. Kind of like, you're not going to see like early year bikini, all of a sudden a new girl's like a star. You see a girl get her pro card and she still needs 2 more years of muscle to be a top girl. But maybe this is the case. She got her pro card 5 years ago. Now she's fully developed as she was like a 5-year pro. Maybe she'll be a new star. Maybe that's like the only way to be like a breakout star these days is that. I don't know, but very excited about. Glad I remembered that one in this because she was like the whole story, the whole reason I was doing this. So anyway, that's what I got, guys. I will do another video as the shows come out. I think that next week's probably won't do one next week because I do think that Jazz is going to be winning this show. I think that's the only show too. So I'll wait till like 2 shows where I can touch base on. But you let me know in the comments if there's something that you want me to cover. I don't mind doing them this way. It's easy. It only takes me 20 minutes or so to do these videos. And I'll talk to you guys next week. As always, TeamElitePhysique.com for worldwide online contest prep with me. I got to plug that, right? Thank you guys so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. It helps the algo. All right. Talk to you later.